recap every week. I know that, but I always want to go over the main points because they're key and they're critical, and we relate back to them. So mindfulness is awareness. We just talked about that. Again, awareness is fluid. The more you practice, the deeper you understand it. So we're talking about watching and rewatching. The video certainly helps you evolve in that. The breath is key. Several people have been witness to that already tonight. That they're using the breath in certain situations to help decelerate and bring things down. And being grateful for just breathing puts everything else in perspective. I'd be curious to know. I'm going to move on, but if you, we've talked about this. I asked. Don't worry about it. We're not worried you're late. We're glad you're here. Don't worry about it. If you have, I have asked you in a couple sessions or just mentioned to try to start your day off with being grateful for just breathing. And I'd like, if you've been able to do that, if you remember to do that, and it has changed your outlook throughout the day to some degree, I'd love to hear more about that in the chat if you wouldn't mind. Interruption of the breath initiates a stress response. Some of us have learned that we're holding our breath or we're breathing faster. Chronic stress causes mental and physical symptoms, illness, and disease. I think we're scratching the surface here. I think we know that it does, and now they're starting to find out. So they know that stress causes problems with the body. Now, through the recent medical tests, and I say recent because in the last 30 years, and every year there's more and more tests. So the data is so new, but they're discovering so much of how what we're doing can reverse that, and they're seeing. I think we're reverse engineering the medicine on that to where we know that the stress causes damage to the body, but I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of really figuring out just how much. And I wouldn't be shocked if in the next 20 to 30 years, a lot of our medicine is going to be more stress-based. And right now it's reactive with chemicals. I think our medical system is really failing us in a lot of ways. And I think that our stress in our environment is going to be the primary focus in the years to come for sure. So, so the stress response we're talking about is always engaged through our perception. That the stressors aren't whatever the stressor isn't the problem. It's our perception of the problem. We've talked about the rubber snake example several times. Your perception is rooted in judgments. Okay, we haven't talked about that a whole lot. We're going to start talking about it a little bit more here and there. Your preconceived judgments really drive our perception. They have to. So if an alligator swims up towards you while you're in the water, and you are frightened, it's because you have preconceived judgments that an animal that looks like an alligator is dangerous. And therefore your perception is there's danger coming because you have a preconceived judgment. Okay? That is good for survival. It is something we should absolutely not completely. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these people that think that should be completely thrown out of the water. I think that is a survival skill that has taken us a very long time to hone. But I do think that we have a divine intelligence that we need to start utilizing more to sift through those to make sure that they are valid and accurate. So, and to do that, the best way to do that is through this practice that we're doing with mindfulness and awareness. Also, our suffering comes when our suffering, this is important, our suffering is prevalent when our learned behavior is not congruent with our values. When the things that we say and do are not actually in line with the things that we hold important, we naturally become unhappy. And that seems natural enough, but we still do the things that we learn to do that don't make us happy. A lot of that comes from pleasing other people. I know we have a lot of, there's a lot of discussion about narcissistic parents in this group. So many of you probably can identify with that right away. Um, one of the things that I say all the time, this is my personal quote that I made up, is that it's not your job to make other people happy. It's your job to make yourself happy and share your joy with other people. And when you get the two confused, no one is happy. It's a little tangent off of this, but it's part of it. So when we're not making ourselves happy, but we're doing the things that we've always done, that we is our learned behavior, our conditioned behavior, and it's not in line with who we are, who we should be. In this example, making someone else happy and sacrificing our own happiness, then that's when our own pain and suffering comes in. So we truly are. We truly are the masters of our own universe. We are the creators, and I'll talk about that a lot too. So we can change. We can also change that, our suffering. We can change that through our practice. Bonus word, if somebody can tell me what that's called. When we change our behavior through our practice, and I'll move on, and we'll see if somebody pops up with it. So again, we talked about that to be human is to be flawed. And I have in this, what you don't know is that when I talk about humans being flawed, I think it was last week we talked about it. In my notes, I have it in quotations because I don't know what other word to use to get the point across. But I really don't think flaw has a negative connotation, and I don't think of it that way, because we talked about that. Being flawed gives the impression that something's wrong, but when in fact, if we're all flawed, then we're all normal. So it's not wrong. It's just part of life. It's just the way it is, and it's part of the challenge of life to be able to move past that. We talk about everyone is fighting a battle that we can't see. So have compassion, not only on other people, but have compassion on yourself. Give yourself a break. You're not abnormal. You're not weird. You're not that exceptional. I mean that, I don't know. So some people might not like to hear that, but you're just human, just like everybody else. So have some compassion on yourself. Have compassion on other people. I say all the time, I can imagine what this world would be like if everybody had just a little bit more compassion every day than they have now. It would, if everybody had a little more compassion, it would change everything. So, and with that, I said last week, we'll never be perfect, but we can progressively be happier, and that should be enough for everyone, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I certainly feel that way. So, see if somebody got. No, nobody gave it a stab on my neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is what I was looking for. Welcome. Okay, so this week in the main group, I'm assuming it's someone who hasn't joined us here in our mindfulness group. I had posted something about neuroplasticity, and the article was actually, in my opinion, it had a sensationalistic, negative, kind of clickbaitish kind of slant. And I thought to myself, gosh, maybe I should start a blog and start writing some articles and try to have a little more positive impact than what this article did. But the article was basically the opposite of what we're talking about. It's the same thing we're talking about, but it was talking about how negativity is reinforced, that it's grown, that it's sown and it's grown, and that people actually strengthen that in each other, which is exactly what we're talking about with the neuroplasticity and the positivity. That's absolutely true. People who are negative with each other can can drive that and rewire the brain with neuroplasticity and make themselves more negative, and we can do the same thing going the other way. And we make choices with that. We talk about choices in the first couple weeks. We make the choice to do that. Sometimes it's subconsciously, we don't realize we're doing it. That's where awareness comes in. But I posted this article, I don't know if any of you saw it, about that in the main group, and someone got upset with me. She wasn't belligerent by any or nasty, as we've seen some people be at Facebook, but it did rub her the wrong way, and I understand what she was saying and where she was coming from, but I think she was implying, she thought that the article and therefore by extension me posting the article was implying that we shouldn't have emotions or feelings, that it was bad for us to be angry, to have negative emotions about what we're going through, and that's a bad thing. That negative emotions are a bad thing, and I I don't I don't know if I've made myself clear on my stance on that point, but I don't think that at all. Um, the problem with this setup here is that you see the shiny happy me, um, and that is not always the case. And my wife, if you need me to drag her in here, well, I probably wouldn't, because I don't want her to tell you the truth, probably. But that's a joke. But I'm human like everybody else. I get angry every day. I stub my toe and say things I shouldn't, or you know, our our emotions are what make us human, and negative emotions are a part of that. And negative emotions actually arise for beneficial purposes. Now that's a psychology course that I'm sure you can find somewhere. We could get somebody to pop in and share with us, but they they're beneficial. I mean, they're part of our survival. They're part of our growth. They're part of our social interactions. So I do not believe that, and I would never suggest that to be the case. We're human, and to not have emotions, try to suppress our emotions, would be a psychological disaster for sure. However, how we respond to those emotions, that is what we're talking about. That is the point. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. And so I want to make a point. Sometimes it's best to use an extreme analogy to make a point. If someone, if you were driving to work in a brand new, or let's say you bought a brand new car, you were leaving from the lot, you're driving home, been in the car, brand new car, 5 minutes, new car smell. You're looking around, see who's looking at you, stoplight, feel on top of the world, just bought a new car. Someone runs a stop sign, pulls out in front of you and totals your new car. You'd be super angry. Who wouldn't? I mean, we'd be have a flood of emotions. We'd be sad, we'd be angry, whatever, right? I mean, that's part of it. Okay. But we don't just get out of the car and grab our son's baseball bat and start beating on their car, or screaming at them, or violently ramming our car into their car, or what. No, we don't do that. Okay. And so we have to be able to check down our emotions. And mindfulness gives us the power to begin to do that more effectively, a little more effectively every day. And so in reality, theoretically, after 30 years of mindfulness, if you're in your new car and someone smashes it, then you have the wherewithal to understand that that's life. That's how it happens. It's just stuff. Everyone's safe. You have insurance. You can get a new car. So you're able to have the mindfulness, to have the awareness, and the skills to be able to handle the anger and not let the anger build up on something that shouldn't be there. That's the point. And I think everybody gets that. I just wanted to kind of touch on that because it happened just this week. Um, and I invited her to the mindfulness group. She never responded that she was coming, and she may have had a bad experience. She may not be ready. Um, and wherever she's at, that's certainly okay. I've been doing things like this a long time, and I know that not everyone's where they need to be to do this or that at certain times, and sometimes just planting a seed and it comes back. Sometimes it's not part of their path. I get it. So um, I just want to. I hope that makes sense. If I left something out, um, please let me know. But we'll always be hurt and angry, sad, always. Um, every day, good stuff happens to you and bad stuff happens to you every day. Don't just expect all good things are going to happen, and then you can't handle the bad things. Um, roll the punches, take both. Be grateful when the good things happen. I say all the time at my house. You can ask me, my family. I say all the time, when good things happen around here, I say, if I'm going to complain when things aren't working the way I want, I'm sure as heck going to stop and be grateful for when they are. It goes both ways. And so, and again, we practice to ensure that we can handle our emotions, be able to keep our sanity and our freedom. If you jump out of a car with a baseball bat and start beating on the other car, you're probably, going to go to jail. So we don't want you to do that either. And then ultimately, we want to increase not only our own happiness, but the happinesses of others because people are watching. So I hope that'll make sense with everybody. So let me check the comments real quick. Yeah, I yeah. When negative emotions become harmful or detrimental, it's time to find a way to deal with them. That is exactly the point. Exactly the point. And whether it doesn't matter whether it's harming someone else or harming yourself, right? So if you have someone who is physically abusive in a relationship, their negative emotions are harming another person. But a lot of us, and probably a lot of us that are here, that's probably the reason that you're here, and I'm no different. We are not very good to ourselves sometimes, and we allow the negative emotions to do psychological damage. And there are even people, and there may be people here, and I've known people. I know people in my life um, that the negative emotions cause them to do physical harm to themselves. And so, absolutely, Renee, that's dead on target. That's what we're talking about. So, um, it's late from meeting her new brother. We'll forgive you this time. Um, I hope it was exciting. Yeah, congratulations for sure. Um, that's neat. That's neat. Um, okay, so I want to I want to talk a little bit about letting go. We're kind of now getting into. I've taught a lot about the physiology of stress, and we'll recap that. Always keep that in mind because that is the fundamental core here of what we're doing. Now, the things we're going to talk about are going to be extensions of that. We're going to talk about letting go. We're going to talk about compassion. We're going to talk about anger, anxiety. Those are the things coming up the next couple weeks. They all come back to the stress response. So they're all spokes of the wheel. Letting go is a big issue. Letting go will actually carry over into the other ones when we're talking about anger, anxiety, sadness, and depression. Emotions are very addictive, and they're hard to let go. And none of us are very good at admitting when we're wrong. I'm sure. To change your emotion and your opinion, you have to, at some level, admit that you were wrong, or at least not right, and that's hard to do. And I'm sure everyone here has an example of when they were angry with someone or arguing with someone, and someone came up with a valid point to prove they were wrong, and you may not have very easily said, "Oh, I guess you're right," and then the argument was over. It may have either been you didn't care, or you found something else to be right and angry about. That's human nature. That's what we do. Some people are probably wired different, and hallelujah. I'm be grateful for that because I'm not one of those people. I have to work very hard to be humble and work very hard to back down because I'm a know-it-all. I think I know everything, and I have to check it down and work, be mindful and be aware and apologize. I have to tell a funny story about that real quick. The other day, I took. Um, I've had a little bit of a health issue in the last year. I won't go into it. It's been really weird. I had a lot of allergies. I suddenly became allergic to like 35 different things, including like beef and avocados and salmon. It was really weird. Oatmeal. So I took some pre-workout the other day for the first time in almost a year. And when I did, I took too much of it. And I went out and I told my wife, I said, I want to let you know I took too much pre-workout. And I said, so what that means is in a couple hours when it starts wearing off and I start becoming a jerk. I said, don't turn around and tell me I'm a jerk. Don't argue with me with whatever stupid stuff I say. I said, all I want you to do is turn around and smile at me and say pre-workout. And she laughed. She said, pre-workout. And I said, yeah, pre-workout. That's all you got to say. Or safe word or keyword is pre-workout. Just say pre-workout. I said, now, when you say pre-workout, disregard anything I say within the first 30 seconds after you say pre-workout, because that doesn't count either. I said, let me walk away and then realize what a jerk I've been. And I said, and I'll come back in and I'll give you a hug and apologize and tell you I'm sorry, I promise. So that was my awareness that I was probably going to get cranky and I wasn't going to be very easy to get along with. Now, I'm happy to report that I did not get cranky and we did not have to use pre-work or our safe word of pre-workout. But you know, that's kind of my point there. So it's hard to let go. All right. So we talked about last week about the monkey mind. And the monkey mind is that incessant chatter in the background of our heads. That's that very simply, they're the thoughts that distract us. I'd like to know in the chat if anyone wants to share if anyone has noticed the monkey mind during their daily, throughout the week during their daily activities. If they just suddenly caught themselves, their mind drifting off, or talking to themselves in a way they wouldn't normally talk to themselves, or catch themselves saying weird stuff that they never really noticed before. I'd be curious to hear any stories about that. But this monkey mind, this incessant chatter happens quite frequently, and sometimes we don't realize it's happening because we choose the things we want to hear, the things we want to hear, the things we want to listen to, and the things we want to believe. And we choose those based on our reinforced behavior. And I mentioned the reinforced behavior earlier. Reinforced behavior are the things you've been taught to do. And they often don't align with who we think we are or who we want to be. That's what causes the suffering, the incongruence in our life that I mentioned earlier. Just ask what pre-workout is. It's just stuff. It's stuff that you take before you work out to boost your energy while you're working out. And I'm trying to run, and I don't know. You probably can't tell from the way I'm sitting here, but I'm 6'5" and 260 pounds, and I'm naturally strong. I'd flip your car over, but I would run out of breath trying to run in a circle around it. And I'm trying to run to go outside the box and try to do something a little different, healthier. And I was tired and I needed a boost of energy. So that's what I was taking with the pre-workout. So with back to the monkey mind, anyone, no one wanted to chime in on the monkey mind. But hopefully you're all now a little more aware of it, and you've begun to experience it. It's not really freaking you out because it's, like I said, it's normal. It's part of it. So this brings us to the ego, really. So the voice, the monkey mind, the chatter in our head is the ego. we've all heard of ego. I'm not, and there are a lot of different psychological definitions, various definitions, various things of explanations of what exactly it does, or theories about what it is or what it does. They're all very similar. There's general, slight differences, and I don't know all of them. I was going to say I won't bore you with all of them, but I don't know all of them. But I do know that the general premise is basically the same. That the ego is basically nothing more than the mask that we wear. And when we talk about the mask we wear, it's we have different masks, right? So you're a different person with your children than you are with your coworkers, and you are with your old high school friends, than you are with your current friends, and so on. We all wear different masks. We play roles. We play, like, it's just a theater out here, okay? And your ego is nothing more than the mask that you wear, but it gets a little deeper than that, because it's pretty much the one that we spend all of our time convincing others who we are, and ourselves who we are. And I think that the ego is very dangerous. For those of you who are my age, and I was born in 1971, and children of the 70s and probably the mid to late 60s, I don't know, but I can speak for the children of the 70s and even into the 80s, the ego was a big topic of conversation about parenting. There was a whole boost your ego thing, and that you had to boost your ego. And so I was raised in a household of boosting an ego that was really superficial. I knew not all the compliments I got were ones that I deserved. And so the ego is very fragile, and the ego's job is to protect you. Okay. The ego's job, the ego's job is to make sense of the world and everything in it, but it tries to protect you, but it can't always be trusted. The ego's created, so it's comprised of everything that you've learned from someone else. Everything that you know, you've learned from someone else. There are a few arguable exceptions to that, but even those exceptions are maybe if you came up with an idea on your own, a concept on your own. I'm still going to guess that it was spawned from something that you learned from someone else. It was definitely created in your head with the language that someone else taught you that you learned. So it's really hard to say that someone can just come up with something out of thin air, that everything you know is built upon something you learned from someone else. Here's just food for thought, something a random thing that I think about that ties into this, you can think about later. What language do newborn babies think in? I still haven't come up with a good answer for that. That'll blow your mind. So anyway, you have to start taking a discerning approach to the voice in your heads. They're a compilation of fragmented voices and opinions. They're all fused together over the years of experiences, learned behavior, and opinions, and that kind of thing. And they're not all healthy. They aren't all truthful. Quite honestly, it's what I call the liar. And I have an example for that. I want to move in and get into meditation here soon. So I have an example of that, a story maybe I'll tell next week or the week after. But the ego can't be trusted. It's neither good nor bad. It's not. I'm not going to say it's this evil entity or it's just, it can't be trusted. The truth lies deep within you. It's what many call intuition. It's what some people call the voice of God. I'm not here to tell you what to call it or what to think it is. I'm just telling you the truth lies deep within, and we can't hear it because of the ego. The ego represents the outside world. It's this constant check, 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 check. It's this constant noise, and it's blocking your ability to listen to what's internal, to the truth, the intuition, the voice of God, whatever you call it, it's preventing you from getting to that and listening to it because it just, quite frankly, won't shut up. Okay. So I'm telling you this because I want we've evolved our awareness is growing to the point where you can now begin to keep that, put that in your bag and take it with you. And as we go through the meditations, you go through the week and your experiences and your meditations, that you start to basically, I want to take your awareness to another level with that. And trust me, it will. Okay. So being aware of the ego, begin being aware of the ego and the chatter. Start just listening. Start listening to what the ego has to say. Just listen. Don't judge. Don't believe it. Don't not believe it. Just listen. Okay. Actually, I want to tell my story. I'll tell it very, very quick. Okay. So about 20 years ago, I was new on the fire department, and I think I was taking out the garbage. I was a rookie, and I was taking out the garbage, and I dropped the garbage, and it went all over the bay floor. And I immediately, you have to apologize. I have to apologize for my language, but I can't get the story across if I don't tell it like it happened. I'm the only one in this bay. Okay, all the other guys are taking naps and they're sleeping because I'm the rookie. I'm taking the trash out. I dump the trash all over the floor, and immediately, out loud, out of my mouth, I say, I'm talking to myself, and I say, "Brad, you dumbass!" And immediately, I stopped dead in my tracks, and I thought, immediately, I thought, why would I talk to myself? I'd never heard myself. I'd never heard this before. I thought, why did I just say that to but I said it out loud. And I thought, why did I say that to myself? Well, I began paying attention and realized I said that to myself quite frequently. I just never realized I did. Now, I've done a lot of soul searching. I've done a lot of mindfulness, a lot of meditation, a lot of soul searching. I know where it came from now. I know I know where it goes all the way back to when I was a child, when I was younger. I know where it came from. I know who said it to me on a regular basis, and I adopted that voice as my own. I can tell you, as a coach for 30 years, my philosophy as a coach has always been to say the right things enough to my players to where eventually they becomes the voice in their head, and they never remember that I even said it to them, that it's their own. So I was always a positive coach, trying to build my players up to eventually, hopefully, they learn to build themselves up. But the point is I negatively talked to myself like this. So again, begin observing, begin listening. Don't judge. Don't shut it down. Pay attention. You don't want to shut it down because you want to listen. The more you listen, the more you're going to learn. So right now, just start taking notes. Just start paying attention. Okay. So when we I want you to begin tonight during the meditation. We're getting ready to start tonight during the meditation. While we're meditating, start this practice by not chasing thoughts. Okay. Listen to my voice. Go through the meditation. When thoughts come up, don't chase them. Don't grab a hold of them. Don't fight them. Don't scold yourself when you catch. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up where I left off. So, all right. So as we start during the meditation this evening, as I said, so I want you to start this practice of observing the ego and the monkey mind and the voice while you're meditating. Don't, and if you have thoughts and your mind starts to wander, it's what minds do. Your mind starts to wander. Don't chase them down a rabbit hole. Don't let it go from the whole chain thing where you go from one subject to another. Don't fight them. Don't scold yourself when you catch yourself thinking of them. Don't say anything negative to yourself. Don't judge them as good or bad. They're just thoughts. I mean, they're just thoughts. Just listen, just watch, take notes, study it. And one of the best things is to just acknowledge it. Even say to yourself, "Oh, that's me thinking about banana bread or race cars or whatever, my trip to Cancun or whatever it is." And then gently return to what you were doing. Just come back to what you were doing. And then if you wander off again, do the same thing. Okay. If you hear a noise, acknowledge the noise. Don't, if your dog barks, don't think, "Oh, I wish they quit barking," which I'm guilty of quite often. Just say, "Oh, that's the dog barking." I have frogs in the background right now in my backyard. Oh, those are the frogs making noise. Um, Ironically, it's your dog barking and it's the horns honking in the background. If we didn't have those things, we wouldn't appreciate the quiet. So it both both are needed to create balance in the world we live in. So um, now, as we're doing this, also, I want to also point out, and this is a big key here. We're going to take another big step. In between all of these thoughts that you have all day long, whether you have them incessantly at 1,000 miles an hour, like goes on in here in my head, or you're not that inflicted and it's less, but you still have them. It doesn't matter how fast, how much, it doesn't matter. In between all of those thoughts are gaps. The gaps are where we find mental peace, period. Let me repeat that. In between any of your thoughts are gaps. That's where you find peace. That's who you were as a newborn baby. Before you learned how to talk, before you learned how to walk, before you learned how to help people, before you learned how to take advantage of people, before you learned anything that you know now, it doesn't matter what it is. At one point, you were a blank slate drifting in warm amniotic fluid and peace and quiet, and probably didn't have any thoughts, and you were just peaceful in the gaps. That's where we're headed, folks. That's where mindfulness will take us, to learn to rest in the gaps. Eventually, through the practice, the idea is that the mind will begin to slow down and quiet down. We will have more of those moments and be able to find increasing peace in our lives. That's it. Okay. We don't know. We can't enjoy them if we don't know they're there. Now you know they're there. Now I want you to find them. Now I want you to begin to appreciate them. It's really magical. They're fleeting. As soon as your mind says, "Oh, there's a gap," it's gone, because now you're thinking again. All right. So it's tricky. It really, really is tricky. But it's something that I really hope that you're able to find quickly, and be able to expand on that as you practice. Okay. We can let the mind do its thing, and then when it pauses, we can just be just here. Okay. So this is who you were when you were born, just existing, no tasks, no responsibilities, no guilt, no shame, no regret, no anger, no pain. You're just there. You just exist. Okay. Blank canvases. So from here forward, as you meditate, and even throughout the day, be mindful of the noise and appreciate the gaps, whether it's your noise in here and the gaps in here, the noise outside and the gaps in between. Stop focusing on the noise and start focusing on the gaps. Appreciate the gaps and work backwards from there. It'll change the way you see everything. I promise. I absolutely promise. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions about that, or any comments? anyone says yay to mental peace, absolutely. I think we could. It doesn't matter who. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and it's addictive. You know, that's the cool thing about practices is once you start to get a taste of it, it's you want more of it, and it's a good thing. It gets the ball going, rolling the other way. So um, I know there's a delay on the the chat feed with the video feed. So I'm going to kind of wait a second. We're getting ready to. You can start getting comfortable. We're getting ready to do meditation right now. It's what you've all been waiting for. I've always wanted to say that. Um, so Penny says she has a lot to learn. Penny, we all do. I have a stack of books I'm looking at right now. I had some of my son's friend came over and started asking me questions about mindfulness. Next thing you know, it was like a 4-year-old went back in my toy box and brought all my toys out. I brought like 12 books out to show her. They were laughing at me. But I have a stack of books that I need to read. I need to learn more. I can't get enough of it. So we all do. So it's called practice because we never really get anywhere. We just keep practicing. I mean, we do get somewhere, but we don't ever actually get to a place. So, okay. All right. So I want you to get comfortable. We're getting ready to go to our meditation. Remember, you can, we're going to do a body scan again tonight. We've done one before. We're going to do one a little bit longer, simply because we're comfortable with the body scan. The body scan is important because we've been talking about the stress response and the physical health. We need to bring awareness into our bodies to make sure that we're healing our bodies as well as our mind. And since we were familiar with the body scan, I thought this would be a good one to do. And it's longer. It'd be a good one to do with the monkey mind, the awareness of the noise and finding the peace in the gap. So since we're doing a body scan, if you and as always, you're welcome to lie down. I know some of you lie down. That's quite all right. You're still welcome to sit up in a chair or sit on the floor. Doesn't matter. Remember the things I told you. If you're lying flat, make sure you're comfortable. If you're sitting in a chair, feet flat on the floor, posture straight, sitting up. If you're sitting on the floor, you can sit cross-legged or in lotus position, half lotus. You can elevate your hips with a pillow or a blanket so you don't to take some of the pressure off. I need you to be comfortable. Being comfortable is important, more so than the actual form that you take. Which is important, but that comes second in my opinion. You know, we can always. I don't bend very easily, so sitting on the floor, cross-legged, is a very big challenge for me. So it's something I have to work at for sure. So, wow, thank you. That is a heck of a compliment right there, and I certainly appreciate that. Yeah, thank you very much. You put these into practice. Lay down into bed and start breathing. Just count your breathing. Remember the old adage that count sheep when you don't count sheep, count your breathing. And when you catch yourself thinking about something else, say, "Oh, I'm thinking about work tomorrow. I need to be counting my breathing," and then come back and start counting your breathing, and just put yourself to sleep. It's that simple. It really is that simple, which is not as simple as it sounds. I do understand. But give that a try, please. Let me know how it goes. So, okay. To do the body scan, we've already been through that. You need to be careful. Comfortable. Sorry. I have a secret. I get back from Disney like at 2:00 in the morning. Got up this morning. I'm exhausted. So I might put myself to sleep here. I don't know. As we do this, as always, I'm going to tell you it's important when we're in a room together. When I'm doing guided meditations in a room with people, it's easier because we're physically in a place where we're all together. Again, I'm going to tell you that you're in a safe place. There's nothing going to harm you here. Hopefully you're not doing this out in the middle of a parking lot somewhere. That you're in your home. That you're in a safe place. You're here online with people that you share a bond with, and a bond that a very rare bond that really binds us together in a way that very few things bind people together. I hope everyone, I'm sure everyone understands that, but don't minimize that. It has been a lifeline for me over the last year. Um, but I want you to tell yourself that you're comfortable, you're secure, you're in a safe spot. It's important. Okay. Um, so I want you to close your eyes, invite you to close your eyes and begin with the breath. That's what we always begin with. You know that. Take a deep breath. By now, you know to take a deep breath through your inhale through your nostrils. Breathe in deep. Exhale. Take a few breaths. You're becoming seasoned pros at this. I want you to go ahead and do your sigh of relief whenever you want, however you want, as many times as you want. I hope you're utilizing that tool on a regular basis throughout your day. Please feel free to do so here now as well. One thing that we haven't talked about too much as you continue to breathe is don't try to relax. Okay. Just let go. When we try to relax, we're working. Okay? Our mind is focused, it's work. It creates more tension, creates expectations. Okay? We don't want expectations, we want goals. There's a difference. I want you to let go. Let the breath do the work. All you have to do is breathe. And since that's a natural reaction, that's how easy it is. That's a natural function. Just breathe. You are here in this safe space, taking care of yourself. Contrary to popular social opinion, you are taking care of the person that should be the most important person in your life. If you take care of yourself, you set a positive example for those you love around you to learn to take care of themselves. The people around you, in particular your children, are watching you. They aren't listening to you, they're watching you. They're doing what you do. If you sacrifice yourself for everyone else, if you sacrifice yourself for your job and your mental and physical health suffer, your children are apt to do the same thing. Teach them to learn to take care of themselves by learning to take care of yourselves. Celebrate the fact that that's what you're here doing with me right now. Every breath that you take in, envision that it's nourishing and healing both your body and your brain and making you stronger, healthier, and happier. There is nothing right now that needs to be any different than it is. You have no deadlines. You have no tasks. You have no chores. Everything is sitting right where you left it an hour ago when you joined me. It will be there when you get back to it tomorrow or whenever. Right now, it doesn't matter. Things are perfect right where you are. You are here in the moment. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to turn your awareness inward towards the breath. And I want you to start to focus on the sensations of the air as it enters the nostrils, moves through the mouth, the back of the throat, and into the lungs, expands the belly. And then also pay attention as the air exhales the body, as the lungs collapse and the air moves back through. And note any sensations that you may feel from it. Do not judge them as good or bad. perhaps the coolness of the air, perhaps your throat's a little dry, perhaps it's a tingling, tickling, or even an uncomfortable type feeling. Just simply be aware of your breathing. As you feel the lungs with each breath, and as you exhale, let go. Just let go. Let go of any tension. Let go of any negative thoughts. Let go of any anxiety, any worries. Just let go. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't need it right now. All you need is your breath. And now, as you begin to inhale, I want you to take a deep breath in, and I want you to envision the air going to your lungs and then moving through your abdomen and your left leg all the way down into your left foot. And take your awareness with the breath. And as the air enters your leg and comes back out through your leg when you exhale, notice any sensations that you may feel in any area along the way. Perhaps there's coolness, warmth, any sensations of the air blowing over the skin, maybe some type of material from the clothing that you may be wearing, or sensations from shoes or socks that you're wearing. Just become aware and take inventory. Just notice, no judgment. As you continue to do this, you may also notice things that you never really noticed before. Sensations of the skin, the nails, spaces between your toes, any type of tingling, any type of pulsing. Perhaps you can feel your pulse, maybe twitching. I'd like you to invite you to expand your awareness as you continue to breathe into your left leg, your left foot. Be aware of the skin, muscles, maybe the arch of your foot, the heel of your foot. Perhaps the weight of your foot falling on the floor, or if you're laying down, the weight of your calf pressing into the floor. Also, as you breathe in, I want you to visualize that your air is coming in and washing through the area of the leg and the foot, almost as if waves washing over the shore, bringing oxygen-rich air into your body, into your blood, to the tissues to heal it, and taking the negativity, taking the waste products, the carbon dioxide, and the air, bringing that out away from the foot, out through the lungs. The in-breath bringing in a newness, a freshness, an awareness. Breathing out releases tension, tightness. Now shift. On the inhale to the right leg, do the same thing. Bring the air through the lungs, the abdomen, Envision it moving through the leg into the right foot. Notice any sensations with your clothing, the air blowing over your skin, tingling. Notice the top of your foot, the ball of your foot, your skin pressing the ground. Just simply be aware. Don't judge. Just be aware. Again, breathe in the nourishing oxygen, the freshness, the newness, the awareness as its waves crashing over the sand, washing over your entire body in the areas that may be sore, bothersome. And then as you breathe out, you're releasing the tension, any tightness, and just letting go. And as you continue to breathe now, envision it going into both legs. Move your awareness up a little bit towards the knee, the thigh, perhaps the back of the leg, either leg. Just take inventory. Notice any discomfort, any tingling, twitching. Again, envision the air washing over it, cleansing it, healing it, releasing the tension and the tightness. And again, just let it go. Now I want you to inhale. Visualize directing the air to your hips. The hips is a neglected area of the body. As we walk and stand, it carries a lot of weight. We don't pay too much attention to it. Right now, I'd just like you to notice any sensations that you may be feeling in your hips that you may not have been aware of before. And take a moment to acknowledge it. And as you breathe in the air again, visualize washing over the area, cleansing it, healing it, bringing the awareness, the attention, the freshness, releasing the tension from that area, releasing any tightness. Now I want you to do the same thing with your lower back. The lower back doesn't get enough credit from us. It's really the piece that holds it all together. So notice particularly tightness here. This is what most of us experience in our back is tightness, which can exacerbate, present as pain. And let's breathe through the tightness. Let's breathe through it and let go. Don't grasp onto it. Don't tighten it. Don't fight it. breathe through it. Imagine the breath just separating the tension, just brushing it aside, just moving right through it as if it were a wall made of beads on strings, and the breath just blows right through it and moves the tension out of the way. The exhale carries the tension out. And just let go, just relax. Now I want you to breathe into the belly. I want you to pay close attention to how the air enters the lungs and the belly rises and falls. Just be observant. Pay particular attention. Is there something here you've never noticed before? Let's move our awareness upward into our upper abdomen, into the chest, to the back. And with each breath, I want you to allow the muscles to release, the tension to ease. But let's do some visualization as well. I want you to imagine you're breathing into your kidneys. You're breathing in healing, oxygen-rich air, and that your kidneys are releasing toxins. You're breathing into your stomach. You're breathing into your liver, and again, visualize that you're breathing. As you're breathing inward, and the healing is washing over these organs and restoring your health. Your heart, your spine, all of these things play a vital part in our daily existence, and we never give them a second thought. Let's honor them and give them their due, that they allow our lives to happen literally on a daily basis. As you continue to breathe deep into your upper back in between your shoulder blades. Let's begin to release the tension, the tightness, the fatigue from all the things you have burdened yourself with carrying, that it's not your responsibility to carry. And let's breathe in and allow the breath to grab that and take it with it on its way out. Breathe in the newness, breathe in the lightness, and let it go and release the tension and the tiredness. And as you breathe in, feel your back expand. Feel your shoulders begin to relax and drop. And feel the weight begin to be being lifted off your shoulders. Now I'd like to invite you to breathe in and visualize the air moving down through the left arm, through the lower arm, into the hands and fingertips. Again, as we do this, we want to visualize the breath washing over muscles as we're taking inventory, becoming aware of the sensations. We're allowing the breath to cleanse the area, to release any tension, soreness from clenched fists. Again, let that go. Let it exit the body with the breathing. Let's do the same with the other side. Inhale through the upper right arm, through the lower right arm, into the hands. Notice any sensations you may not have noticed before. Allow the breath to wash through, cleansing, releasing the tension, taking the tension with it. Just envision the healing. Now I want you to begin to bring your awareness to your breath, and let's direct it towards the heart area. As you breathe, I want you to take a moment just to focus your awareness on your heart. Our heart is greatly affected by the daily stress in our lives. And right now, I just want you to direct your awareness towards it, pay it homage, visualize healing and compassion, gratitude. As you inhale now, I'd like you to bring your awareness to your neck, particularly to the back of your neck, the base of your skull. Notice any sensations, any tension. This is another place where many of us hold tension throughout the day. And visualize the breath cleansing the neck, bringing in a newness, a lightness, healing, releasing the tension out through the body, through the breath, and letting go. And now I want you to shift your awareness to your throat. Throat is a neglected area of the body. There are many believe that this area is indicative of that we hold stress and disease in this area if we feel we are unable to communicate properly and say the things that we need to say. So I want you to bring awareness to that area. I want you to bring healing through the breath, because I have a feeling that there are some of us here who fit into that category, that we're not quite getting to say the things that we feel we need to say at the moment. So treat yourself and cleanse the area of all tension, all negativity, and allow the breath to wash over it with a newness and a freshness and a healing. Now, as you continue to breathe, bring your awareness to your face. Notice any sensations, and particularly any tension or stress in the face, in the jaw, in the brow. Notice around your mouth, the lips, your teeth. This is another place where we hold a lot of tension, a lot of our stress. Continue to breathe. I'd like to invite you, if you find perhaps in your jaw, if you find tension in your jaw, feel free to wiggle your jaw, loosen it a little bit as you continue to breathe and nourish the jaw or whatever area of your face that you find tension. Let it go, relax, use the breath to breathe through it. Now, I want you to take a full deep breath and visualize the entire breath filling your entire body from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, bringing healing, freshness, newness, energizing your body, filling it, filling it full of this newfound energy, and taking with it any remnants of tension and negativity as it leaves the body. Continue to do this. Visualization is very, very important. It's very healing, very therapeutic. An artist cannot paint what he cannot see. Again, continue to fill the whole body full of this nourishing breath, and exhale. And right now, I want you to bring your awareness that you're in the present. You're here. You feel rejuvenated. You feel refreshed. You feel relaxed. You're exactly where you should be at this moment, being exactly who you should be. You are complete right now, just as you are. You're totally awake. You're completely whole. You're still. You're peaceful. You're resting in the gap, the busyness of your life. Right now, I'd like you to take a deep breath in, pause and hold it for a second, and then give yourself a big, loud sigh of relief, whatever that looks like for you. Just let it rip. And if you want to do it again, do it again. And if you want to do it again, do it again. Give yourself the treat of the sigh of relief. And now that we brought our awareness back to where we are, you may begin by moving your fingers and your toes, in your hands and your extremities. You may begin stretching. I love to give myself a stretch. You may open your eyes and bring yourself back to your room. Don't rush. Bring your stillness and your peace back with you. We are not in a hurry. And last but not least, please give yourself a hug. Uh, we don't hug ourselves enough. We just talked about that earlier. Be good to yourself. It's important. And I want to thank you, and I want you to thank yourself for showing up. This is self-care. This is important. It's a big deal that you're here. And it doesn't matter how much you're getting out of this and how quickly you're getting it. You're here and you're moving forward to take care of yourself. I'm proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself. And I'm grateful you're here. Very grateful. So I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. If you're catching the replay of this, um, the camera shut off, the live video feed cut off. We lost the first half of this. I apologize for that. I'll try to remember, and maybe I'll roll it into the next couple weeks, um, so we don't miss anything. Um, for those of you who are with me, thank you for coming. For those of you who are checking out later, thank you so much. And we will be doing, we're halfway through. So next week, we will be back here for a week 6. So take your peace with you to bed. And I pray that when you wake up in the morning, it's still with you and you can take it to work and begin sharing your new joy with others, as we talked about earlier. So thanks again. I hope you have a great night.